A huge thank you to Zenni Optical for sponsoring today's video. Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Ellias, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I will be basically going over some bookishly stats / survey of all the books that I have accumulated and read this year in 2021. Not in 2020, as I have mistakenly said and stated in so many videos, 2021 going to year 2022. So basically in this video I will be going over the amount of books that I read, the genres that I read most from, books I liked and did not like. I will be making two separate videos for my favorite books and the worst books that I read this year. So I won't be going into too much details regarding those books. Yeah, there were some basic questions that I wanted to go over. Caleb from Books and Lala does this every year. I think I did this like one time back in 2017, 2018 or something like that. So I decided to, why not give it a try this year? I think it'll be really interesting going over, my bookish stats. So before we get further into the video, let's talk first about today's video sponsor. I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but I am sporting some new frames from Zenni Optical. So Zenni Optical is essentially an online website where they offer high quality, super affordable prescription, non-prescription, blue light blocking, and sunglasses. They're extremely customizable. They literally have hundreds of styles to choose from shape, color, and every style imaginable. Plus, you can also customize the color of the lens tint. I've been wearing glasses literally my entire life. Contacts as well, but majority of my life, glasses all the way. And I'm literally blind as a bat. I also have astigmatism in one eye, so you can definitely bet that my eyesight is probably worse than yours. And I've pretty much worn every basic shape that there is available, like from rectangles and squares to ovals and circles, even transparent frames as well, you name it. So this time, however, with this opportunity, I wanted to play around with different shapes and color schemes as well. First set of frames that I chose were these angular round glasses. I thought they had a really cool and unique, interesting look to them, as well as these gold temple arms, which will match nicely with some of my gold jewelry. The next set of glasses that I chose were these modern wire rim square glasses. It's also been a really long time since I've worn anything with an adjustable nose pad, so it'll definitely be interesting for sure. Last but not least, I chose these round glasses in the color green. It's also really cool because I've also never worn any other color aside from black and brown before. So this is definitely a pair that I'm looking forward to wearing. And there you have it. With Zenni Optical, they're super affordable. They also make shopping online super easy with their virtual try-on feature, making it super easy and simple to shop with categories by face shape, style, or color. So if you guys want to check them out and learn more about Zenni Optical, you can check out the link down below. Thank you once again to Zenni Optical for sending these frames my way and for sponsoring today's video. Alright, it's time to get into our bookish yearly stats. So if you see me at any point in the video looking down, it's because I have everything here on the laptop. So let me give you guys some information, some background regarding my reading goals and Goodreads and all that. Every year, I think since I started on BookTube, I think like 5-6 years ago, I've always tried to hit the 100 books a year mark. And to this day, I have yet to complete that goal. I think in the previous year, in 2020, I think I reached like 85, 86 books. And I think a couple years before that, I think I read almost 90 books. So yeah, every year, 100 books, no can do. So you can bet in 2020, I'm gonna try again. This year, I set my goals to 50 books. I've actually surpassed that, thank God, to say the least. But in 2022, I'm truly hoping that that'll be the year that I hit 100 books read. So we'll see, crossing my fingers. This year alone, I read around 68 books, which if you divide it per month, that's around like 5.5 books per month. So my most read month in the year 2021 was in October, where I read and completed 8 books. My least read month, or months I should say, were in January, where I read only 2 books, May 1 book, June 1 book, and August 1 book. But I'm gonna be real with you guys because I've only read around 45 actual books because the other 23 books were all rereads. So this year, I believe it was like within the first couple of months of me moving here in SF, I reread a bunch of comfort reads. I have no idea how I flew through 23 books. These were the Mercy Thompson books by Patricia Briggs, the other series by Anne Bishop, and the Hidden Legacy trilogy by Leona Andrews. All of those books in of itself, I actually reread all of them. Literally, the amount of books that I read this year, almost half of them were all rereads. So that's just really funny to me. We are going to go to Goodreads where they have your yearly stats in books. So obviously I have not logged in every single book that I've read on Goodreads because I just either forgot, don't have time, or I'm just really lazy. So it says here that I have read 34 books, but we all know that's a lie. I've read 68 books, and I want to double the amount of pages that I read. And I want to assume that that page read is doubled, tripled, who knows? So my average book length is 392 pages, which is pretty accurate, I want to say. And my average rating for the year is a 3.0. I feel like every year when it comes to rating books in general, I get harsher and pickier. If I don't really like a book or if I think it's okay, it's an automatic 2 stars for me. Like if I think it's average at best, you know, if I'm lenient, if I'm feeling generous that day, it'll be 3 stars. I guess most of the time it's based all on the mood, how I'm feeling. Wow, a 3.0, that is really low. All right, so I'm gonna tell you the amount of books that I rated on the 5-star category. Number 1, 1-star reads. I rated 5 books, 1 stars. Number 2, 2-star reads, 7 books. Number 3, 3-star reads, 15. Number 4, 4-star reads, 15 as well. And number 5, 5-star reads, only 3. That is insane to me. I did not think that I would only have 3 5-star reads of 2021. I actually thought I had a really good reading year when it came to reading certain types of books. I thought I was fed so well this year because I thought I had a lot of favorites. But apparently not. These are the stats that I wrote down yesterday. Assuming that past Ellias has calculated this all correctly, we're just gonna go with that. All right, so according to Goodreads, the shortest book that I read this year was Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones. 136 pages. Did not like this one. And the longest book that I read this year was A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas, coming at 757 pages. Interesting. Okay, that I can agree with. And again, according to Goodreads, most popular book on my shelf that I read this year was Stephen King's The Shining, coming at a whopping 2 million votes. Damn. I read this in the beginning of the year for my book club, and I think I gave it like 3 stars. I thought it was okay. I did like some elements, but there were some other elements that I did not like. And least popular votes, only coming in at 19,000, is That Weekend by Kara Thomas. You guys, this is criminally underrated already. This is a recommendation from me. If you're looking for a really solid YA thriller, pick this one up, I beg of you. All right, and the next category is the highest rated on Goodreads. Are you ready for this? Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. You all already know. I believe I read this in the beginning of the summer. I just know that I was bamboozled. Like, I will never trust anyone. Like, literally anyone. I just know that my faith and trust in anyone who recommends this book is just broken. Like, I've seen people who've given this like 5 stars. Like, that's fine. That's, you do you, boo. But also at the same time, I'm just like, I don't see it. I don't see how this book deserves 5 stars because... Actually, I take that back. I understand truly why this book deserves 5 stars because it was so bad that it just was good, you know? And you know what? I take it all back. I believe it. If you have given it 5 stars, incredible, amazing, 10 out of 10. I honestly see it and I honestly understand why. I just cannot believe the amount of absurdity, the amount of stupidity and ridiculousness that this book contained. And so, 1 star. It was a 1 star for me, but wholeheartedly agree with you on the 5 star. So I give it 1 star, but this book has a 4.47 average on Goodreads. Goodreads, you're broken, I'm telling you. Broken! And so finally, according to Goodreads, my first review of the year was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. Alright, so before we dive into some of the survey questions, I wanted to go over some of the genres that I read for this year and what genre I read most from, because I think that'll be really interesting. So I actually won't be including the rereads in this portion, because actually, all the rereads, they're all like fantasy, paranormal romance. So we're just gonna leave all that out for now. So in the year 2021, I read 30 adult books, which is, I wanna say, pretty reasonable, because one of my main goals was to read more adult books this year, and that is something I accomplished. I've read 15 YA, which makes sense to me, because most of the YA books I read were YA fantasy. I just picked it up on the whim to pass the time, or books that I found that were recommended through Book Twitter or Book Talk. This year, when it comes to thriller and horror, I only read 10 thriller books and 3 horror. I don't know, I feel like I've become so burnt out on like thriller reads because they've all become more or less of the same, you know? Sort of like the same outcome, the same characters, same plot twists and dynamics. It's like hardly anything is new before and hardly anything will surprise me, because I did a reading challenge where I read only thrillers for like 24 hours, and like literally more than half of them were just so disappointing to me. I don't know, maybe I'm just spoiled, you know, who knows. Moving on, contemporary, I've only read 1, and literary fiction, I've only read 2, which is pretty interesting considering one of my goals for this year was to read more literary fiction, but... Alright, science fiction, I've only read 2 books, and in speculative fantasy, magical realism, I read 8 books, and finally, in fantasy, I read 14 books. So I guess you can say that my most read genre are fantasy and thrillers. Alright, so now we're just gonna quickly go through some of the survey questions. Favorite 2021 release? Hands down, Summer Suns by Lee Mandello. So the next one is favorite older title you read in 2021. This one goes to Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. I think this book in of itself, for me, will become a classic in that regard. Next is a book that lived up to the hype. You already know what this book is. Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I mean, do I need to say anything else? Next is a book that didn't live up to the hype. For this one, I'm gonna go with The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. It was a huge mess. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. Next is a book with the most surprising moments. I think I'm gonna go with A Deadly Education because how I'm interpreting this question is the book that surprised me the most, I guess. Because when it comes to most surprising moment, I would have to give that to like a thriller. Surprising moment for me was when I discovered that I actually really love this book because of the characters and the story. Initially, when I started this book, I did not like anything about this at all. So character development, story progress, we love to see it. Alright, so the next question is favorite writing of the year. So I'm gonna go with a different book that I thoroughly enjoyed the writing and I was just so surprised by it. I thoroughly loved it and it surprised me in the best way possible. This one is Electric Kingdom by David Arnold. The writing in of itself here is like a kaleidoscope, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. The next is the book you pushed the most people to read. I can just say that in the first half of 2021, I've nonstop recommended On Earth through Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. This book just took my soul, my heart, my breath away. It was just beautiful, heartbreaking, everything, 10 out of 10. So the next one is favorite newly discovered author. There's so many because there are some really good books that I read this year for the first time from these authors, but I'm only going to choose one, and it's a little biased because I've seen a teaser that the author has posted on her Instagram, and I screamed because it's everything I wanted from this author. She is writing a Persephone retelling story, whatever. I'm just absolutely here for it, and I'm very excited. All right, so we are going to go with favorite cover. So I actually don't have like a favorite cover per se. If I was inclined to choose one, it would probably have to go to Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. I mean, pretty self-explanatory. So the next question is a book that made you cry the most. I'm sorry to say, but I'm a cold-hearted person because I don't think I've cried at any book this year. Not even with On Earth Through Briefly Gorgeous. Did I? Did I cry? I honestly cannot even remember. I would assume that that would be the only book that made me cry. Everything else? Not even Song of Achilles, honestly. I guess I would have to say 0 at this point. Next is a book that made you laugh the most. Again, we're gonna go with Deadly Education. This genuinely made me laugh so many times, and out loud too, because the main characters in here, they're just both stupid, fun, and loving and adorable. You know, just all of the good things. The things that they would do and say to each other is just hilarious. So the last question is most surprising 5-star read. I don't want to keep going with the same book, but we're just gonna go with it anyway. Song of Achilles, because I was so shocked at how good this book was and how much I liked it that I made a full dedicated video. I mean, you can already expect this to be in my top books of 2021 already. All right, so that is pretty much all of the things that I wanted to go over. You know, Bookishly Stats, I think they're just really fun. So with that being said, stay tuned for the next video where I talk about the worst books that I read in 2021. Also, please let me know down in the comments below some of your stats, like what was your most read genre, how many books did you read, all that jazz and the shenanigans. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you all soon with a new video. So Zenni optical, so you guys probably don't, I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but I'm wearing some new the next set of frames that I chose were these modern wired whim. The next the next the next set of glasses that I chose where votes coming at, oh,